that which will survive in those harsh environments. And so I asked Dave, and he told me, he said, yeah, it is inhospitable out in the wilderness in these areas. So it's kind of neat that having a frame of reference to what things actually look like and where David is at. And remember, the people that are chasing David, Saul's men, they're actually on the other side of the mountain physically. So right at the beginning of this chapter, we get some sad news. Samuel, the prophet, he's died. He died, first couple sentences there. And so that hits hard to David. And Samuel remember, he's the one who anointed David as the future king. And he's been like a spiritual father to him. And now he's gone. But even in that grief, and this is good for us too, God uses this chapter to teach David and us some really important lessons and through three very different people. First is David, the future king, as we know. He's being set up to be the future king. He's still learning to trust God instead of his own strength. David has a history of messing things up, and of course he repents, and God still uses him. And that's funny because he did some pretty wicked stuff, and so have we. And God can still use us. And as Pastor Bob said, and who was quoted by Pastor Ken, it's not just a God of second chances. It's God of many, many chances there. And he can use David, and I know he can use me, and he can use you as well. He gives us many, many chances. And then next is Nabal. He's a rich guy, but he's rude and he's selfish. And his name literally means in the Hebrew fool, F-O-O-L, fool. And then third is Abigail, Nabal's wife. Scripture describes her as smart, beautiful, intelligent, and full of real godly wisdom. It gets kind of convoluted in here in the Old Testament there, but we'll find out there in the third section as we study here in just a minute. So here's what happened. Just again, some more overview. David's men had been protecting Nabal's shepherds and his huge flocks out in the wilderness, as we described. And so not one sheep was lost to raiders. And it was like he was doing it for free, essentially, and it was free security. But now it's time to bring the sheep in to shear these sheep, right? It's kind of in the Israelite time, they considered it a festive time, and people usually shared generously when the sheep came in to be sheared, for the cloth and the wool, and for the wool that made the cloth and everything. So David, he sends a very polite message to Nabal. He said, hey, we've been watching your sheep. We didn't lose one. Not one was lost to the raiders or to any enemies or anything like that. Can you? We've taken good care of you and your people and your sheep. David says to Nabal, sends a message. He said, can you share some food with us since while we're here? And then Nabal, he comes back and his response is ugly. And he said, it's like he forgot him. Who's David? Who is this son of Jesse? He knew who David was. And he said, I'm not giving my bread or water or meat away at all. And that's verse 10, 11. We'll go through the verses here in a second more in depth. But it's still in a high level. And so that insult, it lights a fuse of a little bit of anger in David's heart. And then throughout the rest of the story, as we're going to find out some more. So this chapter shows us how destructive, number one, anger and foolishness can be, Nabal.